Section 1. The boy who had nothing. In a small, dusty village lived a boy named Armin. His house was tiny. The roof leaked when it rained. The walls were cracked. And sometimes there wasn't enough food for dinner. Armin's father worked as a laborer. Every day, he left home before sunrise. Every night, he returned home tired, silent, and exhausted. But even after working all day, money was never enough. Armin often saw his mother secretly wiping tears when she thought no one was looking. Not because she was weak, but because she loved her children and couldn't give them the life they deserved. At school, Armin noticed something painful. Some kids had expensive bags. Some had new shoes. Some talked about vacations. Armin had none of those things. His shoes were torn. His uniform was faded. Sometimes classmates laughed. Sometimes they whispered. But Armin stayed quiet. Because deep inside, he carried a powerful dream. He didn't want to stay poor forever. He wanted to change his family's destiny. But there was a problem. Armin had no idea how. Section 2. The strange old man. One evening, Armin was walking home from school. The sun was slowly disappearing. The sky turned orange and purple. Near a small tea stall sat an old man. He watched people carefully. Every day Armin passed that road. And every day the old man sat there, quietly observing the world. One day the old man suddenly called out, "Boy!" Armin stopped. "Come here." Armin walked closer. The old man looked at him deeply and asked, "Why do you always look worried?" Armin hesitated. Then he said softly, "I want to change my life, but I don't know how." The old man smiled. A calm, mysterious smile. Then he said something strange. "Wake up at 5 a.m. every day." Armin frowned. "That will change my life." The old man nodded. Morning is when the world belongs to the disciplined. While others sleep, winners are preparing. Armin didn't fully understand, but those words stayed in his mind. Before leaving, the old man said one final sentence. A sentence Armin would never forget. If you control your morning, you control your life. Section 3. The hardest first morning. That night Armin couldn't sleep. The old man's words kept repeating in his head. Wake up at 5 a.m. But waking up early wasn't easy, especially for someone who was used to sleeping late. Still, Armin decided to try. He borrowed a small alarm clock from his cousin. He placed it beside his bed. Tick, tick, tick. The clock slowly moved toward morning. Then suddenly, ring. The alarm exploded into the silent room. Armin opened his eyes. It was 5 a.m. The room was cold. The blanket felt warm. His body begged him to sleep again. His mind whispered, "Just 5 more minutes." But then he remembered something. His mother's tired face. His father's broken hands. And the old man's voice. If you control your morning, you control your life. Armin slowly sat up. He rubbed his eyes. He stepped outside. The village was silent. The sky was still dark. Birds had not started singing yet. For the first time in his life, Armin saw the world before sunrise. It felt strange, peaceful, powerful, and without realizing it, that morning became the first step toward a completely new life. Section 4. The secret of the morning. The first morning was difficult. The second morning was worse. And the third morning, Armin almost quit. His body was tired. His eyes felt heavy. The warm blanket kept calling him back to sleep. But every time he thought about giving up, he remembered his father leaving for work before sunrise. He remembered his mother counting coins to buy food. So Armin forced himself to wake up again. Day after day, slowly, something strange started happening. The quiet mornings gave him something he never had before. Time. While the entire village slept, Armin sat outside with a small notebook. At first, he didn't know what to do. So he started with simple things. He read school books. He wrote his thoughts. He planned his day. He even started exercising by doing push-ups and running near the empty road. The peaceful morning became his private classroom. No noise. No distractions. Just him. And his future. The more mornings he used wisely, the more confident he became. Because he realized something powerful. Successful people don't magically become successful. They simply use their time differently. And Armin had just discovered the most powerful hours of the day. Section 5. The power of small habits. After a few weeks, waking up at 5 a.m. became easier. But the real change came from what Armin did during those mornings. He built a routine. Every morning looked like this. First, he washed his face with cold water to wake himself up. Then he exercised for 20 minutes. After that, he read books. Not just school books, but any book he could borrow. Stories, biographies, even old newspapers. Each page opened his mind to a bigger world, a world beyond his small village. Sometimes he would sit quietly and think about life. He would ask himself questions like, how do successful people think? What can I learn today? What small step can I take to improve my future? These questions slowly changed the way Armin saw the world. While others complained about their problems, Armin searched for solutions. While others slept, Armin was quietly building discipline. And discipline is a silent power. At first, nobody notices it. But one day, everyone sees the results. Section 6. When people started laughing, not everyone believed in Armin's new habit. One morning his cousin saw him running on the empty road. Why are you awake so early? He laughed. Trying to become a millionaire? Some friends also joked about it. Sleep is more important, they said. You're wasting your time. Even some elders shook their heads. You are still young, they said. Enjoy life. Don't work so hard. For a moment, Armin felt embarrassed. Maybe they were right. Maybe waking up early didn't matter. Maybe nothing would change. But then he remembered the old man at the tea stall. The morning belongs to the disciplined. And something inside Armin refused to quit. So the next morning, he woke up again, and again, and again, because dreams are not destroyed by failure. They are destroyed when people stop trying. Section 7. The first opportunity. Months passed. One morning while studying outside, Armin noticed something interesting. The town library opened very early, but hardly anyone visited it in the morning. So Armin started going there every day after his morning routine. At first the librarian was surprised. You are the first student I've seen here at sunrise, he said. But soon he welcomed Armin warmly. The library became Armin's treasure. Hundreds of books, hundreds of ideas, hundreds of lessons. Armin read about successful entrepreneurs, scientists, inventors, leaders, and he noticed something fascinating. Many successful people had one thing in common. They woke up early. They used mornings to think, plan, and grow. Suddenly, the old man's advice made perfect sense. Armin wasn't just waking up early. He was slowly training his mind to think like successful people. And little by little, his destiny started moving in a new direction. Section 8. The morning that changed everything. One cold winter morning, Armin woke up as usual. 5 a.m. Dark sky, silent streets. But that morning felt different. As he walked toward the library, he saw the old man again. The same man who had given him the strange advice months ago. The old man smiled when he saw Armin. So you listened, he said. Armin nodded. Yes, and my life is changing. The old man looked proud. Then he said something even more powerful. Most people want success, but they don't want discipline. He pointed toward the rising sun. Every sunrise is an opportunity, but only those who are awake can see it. Armin looked at the horizon. The sun slowly appeared above the hills. Golden light filled the sky. And in that moment, Armin understood something deeply. Success isn't created in one big moment. It is built quietly, morning after morning, habit after habit, until one day the entire world sees the result. And Armin's story was only beginning. Section 9. The hidden power of discipline. Months turned into a year. By now, waking up at 5 a.m. was no longer difficult for Armin. It had become part of his life. While the village slept peacefully, Armin was already awake, planning his future. His mornings became powerful. Exercise made his body stronger. Reading made his mind sharper. Thinking quietly in the early hours made him wiser. Something inside him was changing. He was no longer the quiet, poor boy who felt helpless. Now he had direction. But discipline does something interesting. At first, nobody notices it. But slowly, the results begin to show. Armin's teachers started noticing something different. He was answering questions faster. His grades were improving. His focus had become stronger. One day his teacher asked him, Armin, what changed? Armin simply smiled. He didn't explain everything, because some changes are invisible. They happen quietly, in the early hours when the world is still asleep. Section 10. The biggest test. Just when life seemed to be improving, a problem appeared. Armin's father got injured at work. He couldn't go to work for several weeks. Suddenly, the family's small income disappeared. Bills started piling up. Food became scarce again. The stress inside the house grew heavier each day. One night, Armin heard his parents talking quietly. We might have to take Armin out of school, his mother said softly. We can't afford everything anymore. Those words hit Armin like a storm. Everything he had been working for, his dreams, his future, All of it seemed to be collapsing. That night Armin couldn't sleep. Fear filled his mind. But something strange happened the next morning. At 5 a.m., the alarm rang as usual. For a moment Armin thought, what's the point anymore? But then another voice inside him spoke. If life becomes harder, your discipline must become stronger. So Armin woke up again. Because true discipline is not tested when life is easy. It is tested when life becomes painfully difficult. Section 11. When everything almost failed, Armin knew he had to do something. He couldn't just watch his family struggle. So he made a bold decision. Every morning after his routine, he started helping at the town market. At first, he carried boxes for shop owners. The work was hard. The pay was small, but it helped buy food for his family. The routine became exhausting. Wake up at 5 a.m. Exercise. Study. Work at the market. Go to school. Study again at night. Sleep. Repeat. Many days he felt like giving up. His body was tired. His mind was exhausted. But every morning, when he saw the sunrise, he remembered why he started. Because his dream wasn't just about himself. It was about changing his family's life. And when a dream is bigger than comfort, people find strength they never knew they had. Section 12. The breakthrough opportunity. One early morning at the library, something unexpected happened. A man in a formal suit entered the building. He looked surprised to see a teenager studying so early. The man approached Armin and asked, "Why are you here at sunrise?" Armin explained everything. His routine, his struggles, his dreams. The man listened quietly. Then he smiled. "You remind me of myself when I was young," he said. The man turned out to be a successful businessman who had grown up in the same region. He had come to visit the town for a few days. But Armin's discipline impressed him deeply. So he made an unexpected offer. "If you keep working hard like this, I will help support your education." Armin couldn't believe what he was hearing. For a moment he was speechless. Then he realized something powerful. That opportunity did not appear because of luck. It appeared because he was doing something most people never do. He was awake, working, learning, and preparing for his future. At 5 a.m. And sometimes, that is exactly where destiny begins to change. Section 13. The rise of Armin. After meeting the businessman at the library, Armin's life slowly began to change. The man kept his promise. He helped Armin continue his education. But he also gave Armin something even more valuable than money: guidance. He taught Armin how successful people think, how they solve problems, how they build opportunities instead of waiting for them. Armin listened carefully to every lesson. But one thing never changed. No matter how busy life became, Armin still woke up at 5 a.m. Even in winter, even when he was tired, even when nobody was watching. Because by now he understood something deeply. Success isn't built in the spotlight. Success is built in the quiet hours when nobody sees your effort. Years passed. Armin finished his studies. Then he started working with the businessman. At first he did small tasks, learning, observing, improving. But his discipline made him stand out. While others arrived late, Armin had already finished hours of work before sunrise. Slowly, opportunity after opportunity appeared. Section 14. The moment everything changed. One day the businessman called Armin into his office. "Sit down," he said with a smile. "I have been watching you for years. You are hardworking, honest, disciplined." Then he said something Armin never expected. "I want you to lead one of my new projects." Armin's heart started beating fast. This was a huge responsibility, but it was also a huge opportunity. The project was difficult. There were risks. Many people doubted him. Some even said, "He's just a poor village boy." But Armin didn't argue. He didn't complain. He simply did what he had done for years. He woke up at 5 a.m. Every morning he planned. He studied problems. He searched for solutions. And slowly, the project began to succeed. Profits grew. The business expanded. And one day something incredible happened. Armin became a partner in the company. The poor boy who once struggled to buy school books had now become a successful businessman. Section 15. Returning to the tea stall. Years later, Armin returned to his old village. The dusty road looked the same. The small houses looked the same. But Armin's life was completely different. He visited his parents first. Their old house had been repaired. Life had become comfortable. But Armin had one more place to visit. The tea stall. The same small place where everything had started. And there, sitting quietly as always, was the old man. Armin walked toward him slowly. The old man looked up. For a moment, he studied Armin's face. Then he smiled. I see the sunrise changed your life, he said. Armin laughed softly. No, he replied. You changed my life. The old man shook his head. I only gave you advice. You are the one who woke up. Section 16. The final lesson. Armin sat beside the old man and watched the sunrise again. Just like the first morning years ago, golden light slowly filled the sky. Birds began to sing. The world started waking up. Then the old man spoke one final time. Most people believe success comes from luck, but that is rarely true. He pointed toward the rising sun. Everyday life gives people a new opportunity, but most people are asleep when it arrives. Armin nodded quietly, because now he understood something powerful. The alarm at 5 a.m. was never just about waking up early. It was about discipline. It was about focus. It was about choosing growth over comfort. And sometimes, the difference between an ordinary life and an extraordinary destiny is simply the decision to wake up before the world does. Section 17. The morning habit that never left even after becoming successful. Armin never stopped waking up at 5 a.m. His house became bigger. His office became larger. His responsibilities increased. But his mornings remained the same. Every day before the sun appeared, Armin was already awake. Sometimes he sat quietly with a notebook. Sometimes he exercised. Sometimes he simply watched the sunrise. Because those early hours reminded him of something important. They reminded him of the poor boy he once was. The boy who had nothing. No money. No connections. No advantages. The only thing he had was a decision to wake up earlier than everyone else. And that one decision had slowly built an entirely new life. Section 18. Helping others rise. Years later, Armin decided to do something meaningful. He opened a small learning center in his village. A place where children could study, read books, and learn new skills. But the center had one special rule. It opened at 5 a.m. At first, the village children complained. Why so early? Can't we come later? But Armin smiled. He knew something they didn't know yet. The early hours are powerful. The mind is fresh. Distractions are few. Dreams feel closer. Slowly, the children began to understand. Every morning, the learning center filled with young students reading, studying, and planning their futures. And each time Armin watched them, he remembered the lonely mornings when he studied by himself. Now those mornings were helping hundreds of others. Section 19. The true secret of success. One day, a young boy asked Armin an interesting question. Sir, what is the secret of your success? Armin thought for a moment. Then he smiled. Most people think success comes from big moments, he said. Winning a huge opportunity, making a lot of money, becoming famous. But the truth is much simpler. Success is built from small daily habits, small choices, small actions repeated every single day. And for Armin, everything started with one habit. Waking up at 5 a.m. Not because it was easy, but because it was difficult. And difficult things build strong people. Section 20. The final sunrise. One quiet morning many years later, Armin returned to the tea stall again. But this time something was different. The old man was no longer there. The chair where he used to sit remained empty. Armin sat down and ordered tea. As the sun slowly rose, he looked at the sky and smiled. Because even though the old man was gone, his words still lived on. If you control your morning, you control your life. Armin realized something beautiful. That advice had not only changed his life, it had now changed the lives of many others. And that is the true power of discipline. Section 21. A story that started spreading as the years passed. Armin's story slowly began spreading beyond the village. People from nearby towns started hearing about him. They heard about the poor boy